Welcome to Late Night in Canada. My name is Brittlestar. Honestly. In lockdown news, Manitoba has increased their gathering limits to 25 people at inside gatherings or 50 people at outside gatherings. The reason twice as many people are allowed at outside gatherings in Manitoba this spring is because most people will leave pretty much right away because of the mosquitoes. Quebec is allowing outdoor gatherings of up to 10 people from up to 3 different households, which is great, but the people of Quebec wanted the same allowances as Manitoba. But of course, the offer wasn't valid in Quebec. Students in Ontario will not be returning to school until September. Moms and dads in Ontario will be returning to the LCBO later today. Dr. Theresa Tam has advised Canadians to use non-medical masks when in public as things begin to reopen. Of course, wearing a mask doesn't protect you from the virus, but does protect others from any water droplets that may escape from your mouth when you're speaking. And also from having to look at that bit of lettuce that's been in your teeth since lunch. Some dog parks are reopening. You'd think most dogs would be excited about that. But apparently it doesn't feel the same when you're wearing a mask. Nintendo Switch users who have been clocking up huge numbers of hours on games like Animal Crossing during the lockdown have been forced to learn how to fix their machines by themselves, which is great. Apparently the handheld console's left joystick, or Joy-Con as it's known, can get stuck and the character you're playing can drift in circles. Yeah, it's the machine's fault, said me whenever I'm playing a video game. According to a news release, Disney World's high-end outdoor shopping area, Disney Springs, is opening more shops and restaurants. They stated that, quote, all workers and visitors over age 2 will be required to wear masks. Which is great, but listen, I wouldn't be surprised if their under 2s unionize. We have a great show. From Still Game, Greg Hemphill is here, and musical guest, Crash Adams. We'll be right back. Promotional consideration for Late Night in Canada is brought to you by Social Media North, presented by Club Coffee. Social Media North, an online social media convention, so you don't have to smell anyone. Tonight's first guest is known around the world as, of course, one of the stars of the incredibly influential series Chewin' the Fat, and also star of the beloved long-running series Still Game, the amazing Greg Hemphill. Greg, thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Stu. It's fantastic. It's great to see you. You're looking very well, a lot smarter than I am.
Well, I asked you what you were wearing, and then I purposely dressed up.
That old trick. Well, this is my Drew McIntyre shirt, which is to celebrate Scotland's first WWE champion. He was crowned at WrestleMania this year.
Is that right? Is that the crazy WrestleMania that happened like in a lockdown warehouse somewhere in Florida? Or was that different?
Yeah, that's right. It was at the Performance Center in Florida, that's right, in front of no crowd, which was a first for WrestleMania. So it'll go down in history, I think.
I think that's one of the weirdest things, because I've been a fan of yours for a long time, and mostly because you and I are pretty much the same age and I'm seething with jealousy at all you've done. But apart from that, though, I think that the only thing that sort of struck me as weird was finding out how big of a wrestling fan you are.
Yeah, that actually, it started for me back in Montreal. My friend Rob Borey, who is now a forester over in Vancouver, he called me up one day and says, do you want to come and see the WWF, as it was called then? And this wasn't pandas fighting bears and hitting bears with ears and stuff like that. It was wrestlers. And we went to down to the old Forum,
right,
before it was, is it the Molson Center now? Yeah, and we went down there and we had the time of our lives. And I was instantly hooked. And I got a little peek behind the curtain when I saw the Iron Sheik kind of walking and having a laugh with the face wrestler that he'd just been fighting. And I was like, that's strange. They were like buddies. And I think that little peek behind the curtain just kind of absolutely flipped my interest even more. You know, it was like I wanted to join the circus and run away with them.
There's an interesting thing I noted, of course, you mentioned about being in Montreal and all that kind of stuff. And you were born in Scotland and then moved to Canada when you're about 12 and then moved back to go to university, which interestingly, for trivia's sake, is the exact opposite of what my wife Shannon did. My wife Shannon grew up in Canada, left when she was 12 to live in Scotland for high school, and then moved back to go to university in Canada. So really interesting. What was it like moving at that age, from Scotland to Canada? Very different cultures.
Yeah, I think at the time it was one of those situations where my dad was working for a company called Presco, which is a refrigeration company, and he got called into his boss's office on the Friday, and he thought it was the 4 o'clock walk, as they used to call it, which is you get called into the boss's office on a Friday, that's it, it's over. And he said, "Hey Ed, how do you feel about Montreal?" And my dad was like, okay, what do you think? What are you thinking? You want to send me there? And he's like, "Yeah, we want to send you there." And he says, "But don't worry, I'm going to give you the weekend to think about it." So, by Monday, he was gone. And then we followed a couple of months later. And we arrived in one of the coldest winters. It was actually 1975, I think.
Right.
Early 76. And it was incredible. And I think Montreal had 3 of its coldest winters the first 3 years that we were there. But I loved it, and it was those formative years, and I made great friends, some of whom I've been Zooming over the last few weeks of this lockdown. I haven't spoken to in many, many years, so I've been reconnecting with my old pals over in Canada. It's been great, but I miss it. I really miss it. And it's actually, look, I have a little fake. This used to be red. It's now going to go pink.
Right.
It's my little make-believe tattoo. So I need to get it recolored.
Right.
Because it's a camp at the minute.
Well, that's okay,
I'm a Canadian, yeah.
Absolutely,
no,
absolutely. Good. Tell me, what's been your weirdest fan connection you've had?
It's funny, because of the nature of the show, it's not like it was on an American network, and wherever you go, people, it's like if you're in Scotland, people stop and say hello. And,
sure.
But if you're anywhere else in the world, you're pretty much left alone, except every now and again, wherever you are, you'll see in a sea of faces of people not looking at you, you'll see one wee cheeky pale face looking at you like that, and you go, they must be Scottish. They're just pointing at you out of the crowd, like, I don't know, wherever, you're sitting in a cafe in Paris and you're just having a glass of wine with your wife, and then suddenly somebody goes, "Hey, big man, how you doing?" And I have to say that's kind of wonderful, because I don't know, the Scots are one of these kind of people. They just get scattered to the 4 corners of the earth, don't they?
Yeah.
I've always thought somebody made a great documentary about the Scots abroad and where people have ended up and whatnot. But it always puts a smile on my face when that happens, and it's always weird every time. My brother, who lives on Vancouver Island, is basically Mike Myers' his dad in So I Married an Axe Murderer. Do you remember that?
Right. Yes. Yeah.
If you think I'm sexy.
Yeah.
He hears the bagpipes and starts going, "Ah!"
I made sure.
Thinking Iron Brew.
Now your brother was in Still Game, but he's the CN Tower operator, is he not? In the episode?
Yeah, I mean, my brother was I think he was a biomechanical engineer or something. I asked him, and I still don't know what he does. He used to work in the airline industry, and he changes his jobs from time to time. And he is completely sort of diametrically opposed to where I am at in terms of what we do for a living.
Right.
And we're so close. We get on so great. And he was living in Hamilton at the time. Right. And I said, "Steve, you got to come down and do this cameo. It's going to be great." And he just kind of went, "Sure." And I was like, man, he was really casual about that. I wonder if he knows what it's going to be like. And he got on set, and everybody's putting the makeup on him and everything, and people are adjusting the lens, and I can see him kind of getting nervous. Me and Ford were loving it because we were playing opposite him in the scene.
Yeah.
And when it came to turn the camera around and do him, he was kind of like, he was slightly frozen, and so we're just off camera the whole time he's talking. We're off camera, kind of going like that. And just utterly torturing him and making it a nightmare for him. But he sailed through it, man. He was a pro.
He certainly was. He did a great job. Hey, listen, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate your time a ton. And, man, I look forward to whatever you're doing next. And in the meantime, I'll just watch all those ripped off clips from your shows on Facebook. It's fun.
Yeah, listen, knock yourselves out. It's great to see you, brother. And good luck with the rest of the run.
Thank you so much. We'll be right back. Promotional consideration for Late Night in Canada is brought to you by Social Media North, presented by Club Coffee. Social Media North, an online social media convention, so you don't have to smell anyone. Ladies and gentlemen, Crash Adams.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Crash, this is Adams, and we're Crash Adams. Every morning, know where she going, she wakes you up. She'll never give you that green light, she'll never get enough. She'll take your money, she got the one-stop certified juice. While pretty honey, she's on the loose. Caroline, you keep me running from the very first night. Tastes like the soap popping that first kiss. Oh my, she's my favorite kind. Caroline, you keep me coming from the very first night. Tastes like the soap popping that first kiss. Oh my, she's my favorite kind. Caroline, pull me back down, pull me back down, pull me under. She'll be your queen, she's your Billie Jean, kerosene wonder. She'll take your money, she'll make you buy a one-way ticket to the blues. Hey pretty honey, she's got the lighter, she's got the fuse. Caroline, you keep me running from the very first night. Tastes like the soap popping that first kiss. Oh my, she's my favorite kind. Caroline, you keep me coming from the very first night. Tastes like the soap popping that first kiss. Oh my, she's my favorite kind. Caroline, she'll never lead you to the finish line. The type to leave you home for dinner time. And she knows that she's your favorite kind. Caroline, you keep me running, you know you keep me running, and oh, you keep me coming for you. Caroline, she's a sweet loaded sugar-coated cherry pie. Caroline, Caroline, you keep me running from the very first night. Tastes like the soda pop in that first kiss. Oh my, she's my favorite kind. She's my Caroline. Oh no, she's my Caroline. You keep me coming from the very first night. Tastes like the soda pop in that first kiss. Oh my, she's my favorite kind. Caroline.
Thank you so much for watching Late Night in Canada. Click like, share, and tag a friend in the comments. Subscribe if you want. Do all that stuff. We'll see you soon. Good night.